welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to be talking about 5 things that I did in 2025 that helped me be able to save $2,326.23. A lot of these things that I did would be, in my personal opinion, considered passive. They required little to no effort for me to do throughout the year and allowed me to be able to save that money. Either way, I'm going to definitely be doing them again in 2026, and I thought I'd share with you in case you'd also like to do the same. Alright, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to write here 5 ways to save money. Now, the way that I'm going to actually be listing these out is going to be in order from least to most, meaning the things that brought in the least amount of money savings wise to what brought in the most amount of money. The very first way is using the Bank of America cashback deals. So let's go ahead and put Bank of America cashback deals. Now this way of savings actually only brought in $32 last year and 11 cents. But again, I personally would consider this a passive way to save, and I'll explain why. Once you log on to your online banking or go into your app, you can go ahead and click where it says Bank Ameri Deals. This will open up a page where you can see a lot of different companies that are offering these deals, and if there's any of them where you might even slightly have a chance of shopping at, then I would recommend that you click on it. That way, if you do end up spending money there, you actually get your cash back. This is probably the only way to save that requires a little bit more maintenance, but since I log into my app pretty often, this isn't a huge deal for me. The second way that I was able to save money in 2025 is via Apple Cash. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's see, Apple Cash. This one right here brought me in $46. So something that I like to do personally is I like to use a little bit of what people might call girl math. Whenever I buy something for a coworker, for example, a Red Bull or something like that, what I like to do is, instead of paying that money back to my bank, I just act like that money is gone. And so I keep it in my in my Apple Cash wallet, and I just leave it there until either I really need it or I just save it until I can transfer it over to my savings account. Doing this last year obviously didn't bring me a ton of money. This also doesn't necessarily apply to bigger expenses. For example, one time I went out to dinner with somebody and they had to pay me back almost $60, so that amount might be a little bit too expensive for me because that would have had to come out of my own spending money. But if it's a small thing, like for example, like I said, a Red Bull that maybe only costs $3, $6, something like that, when it gets transferred over to me, I just act like the money's gone and I keep it in there as another way to save money. The third way that I was able to save money last year was through cash savings. And this method of saving money actually was able to help me save $484 last year. The way I like to put it is that we're basically putting girl math in our favor. Every time I come into cash, instead of spending it, since I don't normally carry cash, what I do is I just take it out of my wallet and I use it to fill in my 100 envelope savings challenge. Now, if the envelope is already filled up with money, what I do is I just set it aside. That way, if I come into another bill that can help me fill an envelope that hasn't been filled, then I just put the both together. Even though I wasn't able to complete the full challenge last year, doing this helped me save $484 last year. The fourth way that I saved money was through cashback deals. So let's go ahead and write that down, cashback deals. And this is specifically related to my credit card. A lot of you may have heard of different credit cards that offer you a different percentage back depending on what category you want to spend in or things like that. But last year, me purchasing almost everything with my credit card that I could was able to help me save $622.40. Now in this category, one of the things that, for example, I don't pay with my credit card would be gas, because a lot of times those things tend to be cheaper if you pay cash or if you pay with your debit card. Or there's also some grocery stores that don't really allow you to use a credit card when paying. But mostly everything else, including insurance, all that stuff, I use with my credit card, and then I would be able to get cash back on that. Obviously, if you are the type of person that maybe struggles to pay back your credit card, this might not be a good idea for you. It might be a little bit better for you to wait until you're disciplined enough, because when you're using this method to save money, it is super duper important that you're okay with paying this money back. For example, at the end of a pay period, having like a routine where you're paying this money back so that you're not actually adding debt to your credit card. So here's a little demo from how much I saved last year. You'll notice that the amount noted on here is a little bit different than what I mentioned in my video. That's because the cutoff date for my credit card statement is on the 17th of every month. So I just manually calculated what I earned after the 17th. But as you'll notice on here, my bank personally, I don't know if your bank maybe does this as well, but allows you to see what categories you're spending the most in. You can filter it by month, you can filter it more long term if you want, but this just allows you to see what category might be the best one for you to select the higher percentage. So for me, online shopping is where I have my 3% category, but obviously you're going to want to select the one that makes the most sense for you personally. And now the last way that I was able to save that amount of money last year, and the one that brought in the most amount of money, is having my money in a high yield savings account. This allowed me to be able to save a total of $1,141.72 last year. Now, I don't really have a lot of experience using high yield savings account like SoFi, for example. A lot of people have used those, but my bank, Bank of America, does offer the opportunity for you to put your money in what's called a CD account, and you can choose what rates you want, how long you want to have the money in there. One thing to note though is if you do put your money in a CD account, you're not allowed to take it out for a certain amount of period. So that's one big reason why I don't have all my money in there, but I have pretty much the majority in there, and that allows me to be able to accrue passive savings. And the good thing too is that if you have your money in there, this money that you saved or you gained from interest continues to accrue, and then that continues to increase the amount of interest you get paid back every time. So it's a nice way to save some money in the long run. Alright, so let's go ahead and add this up to see what our total's coming out to. And I'm kind of trying to move this a little bit to the side to avoid hopefully there being a lot of a glare, because I know that in my last video there was a bit of a glare. But let's go ahead and add these totals up. The first one was with Bank of America cashback deals, which I was able to save $32.11. The next way was through Apple Cash, which brought in $46. The third way was saving any cash that I received using Girl Math, you already know, and that was $484. The fourth way was using my credit card to get cashback deals also, so that's going to be $622.40. And the last way that brought in the highest amount of money was having my savings in a high yield savings account, and so that was able to bring in $1,141.72, which brings our grand total to $2,326.23. So guys, as you were able to see, these were 5 different ways that I was able to passively save some money last year, which ended up bringing my total to $2,326.23. And if you decide to give these methods a try, please feel free to let me know in the comments below how it's going, or if you have any other passive ways to save that you use in your personal life, also let me know, because I would love to give them a shot. I'm always up for saving money, so please, if you have any other suggestions, feel free to let me know. Other than that, guys, if you're interested in continuing to see some more financial content, please feel free to give me a follow and subscribe. I would really appreciate it, especially because my channel is very new and I'm trying to grow it this year. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video.